welcome to the Align Your Life show. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Jenny Parks. I'm a health and prosperity professional and integrative nutrition coach, here with my guest this week, Jennifer Malins.
Hello.
She is a fellow integrative nutrition coach, heart math coach, and author of the book Soul Destination, which we've talked about several times on the show, and we're going to pick some goodies out of it today too. Today we thought we would talk about mindset as it pertains to goal achieving. I think that is something that so many people overlook when they're setting goals. That mindset is really the first step to achieving any goal. You have to get your mind in the right place.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I was looking at statistics, and we were just talking about this. We both found the same stat, that about 8% of people actually achieve the goals that they set out to achieve, and that's
Low number.
Really small number.
Very
and there's
low.
a reason for that. 45% of people make New Year's resolutions. 78% quit. Not too far along into the new year. Yeah. So if that's you, we thought this would be a good timing because, I think that is, like I said, something that people don't take into account is you really have to grow your mind if you're going to move forward with any goals that you have.
That's true.
You were talking about having a soul purpose.
Yes,
Behind.
and soul purpose, not meaning only purpose, meaning from the soul, so not just a superficial reason. So a lot of times when I'm working with a client, a lot of times the goal is weight loss. And when I ask them what weight they would like to be, I have them fill it out on an intake form. And they always have a number, a specific number. I rarely do people say, I don't know, I just want to feel better. And then I ask, well, why that number? And sometimes it comes from a more soul-oriented place, like, oh, I felt my best when I was at that weight. It's like, okay, that's good that you want to feel better and be able to do more things. But other times it's like, well, it just sounds good, or so-and-so weighs that, and I would like to have that weight. And so just really having a deeper reason behind your goals, whether it be weight loss, whether it be to exercise more, whether it be to eat clean, really dig deep and know why specifically. And you should have a deeper reason and maybe several reasons why you want to have that as your goal. Otherwise, you are very likely to fall off the wagon because it's meaningless to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so many people are concerned with the how too, but it's not so much how, it is why, because there are going to be bumps and there are going to be excuses and there are going to be reasons why you're going to want to quit. And this really applies to anything, not just like we were talking earlier, not just health and fitness and eating, but maybe starting a business, or maybe you want to grow your spiritual practice. Maybe you want to deepen your relationships with family members or friends. It really doesn't matter what the goal is, but you do have to really have a nice grounding why, so that when you have those wall-kicking moments and when you trip up and when you fall backwards and you want to beat yourself up, you have something to go back to.
Right. I mean, the universe will, if you're really serious about your goal, the universe will conspire to help you achieve that goal. I read that somewhere. I don't remember where. I have to give credit where credit is due. But
I've heard Wayne Dyer say it several times, but I don't know if he originated it.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people have said that, and it is true. I mean, a lot of people say it because it's true, but you have to be serious about it. You have to have passion behind it. You have to be dedicated and committed, and you have to understand, you have to be connected on a deeper level with that goal rather than just being kind of flippant, like, oh, I'd like to do this. And no, if you want the universe to help you achieve that goal, you really have to be serious and focused and passionate and dedicated to making it happen.
There's momentum behind that process, behind our thought process, and how all of that kind of works behind the scenes, so to speak, with the universe. But that's why thoughts are so important. If you have, I so many times when I'm coaching people, they'll want to, let's just say, lose weight, because that's on so many people's minds right now. And they'll say, do I need to exercise? Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? And I always just say, let's just focus on the losing weight. Let's just focus on some of the nutritional changes that are going to help you get started. Don't pile it all on too quickly. And really consider your mindset around it, because if you're making all of these changes, but deep down you're telling yourself, I'm big boned, I never lose weight, it takes me forever, I've failed before. And this is the reel that's playing over and over in your head. Even if you're making these changes and sticking with the plan or whatever it is that you have, your body's going to respond to the thought process.
Exactly.
So it is going to be hard to lose weight. It is going to be slow going. And you're really setting yourself up for failure because of that negative mentality.
That is such a perfect point, too, is if you want to change your life, you have to change your thoughts first, because thoughts precede form.
Yes.
So a great way to do this is meditation. Meditation, a lot of people find it very difficult, but there are some amazing resources for easier ways to meditate rather than just the empty mind meditation. So there are a lot of different forms. If you want to connect with me later, I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. But meditation helps you become aware of your thoughts. And if you're not aware of your thoughts on a moment-to-moment basis, which most people aren't, then you are going to get in that negative loop thinking without even realizing you're doing it. And a lot of people are exhausted by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that witching hour where they reach for coffee or they reach for a piece of cake or something that really kind of goes against what they're trying to do, because all day long they've been thinking these negative thoughts and they've been going around and around in this endless eddy that they can't seem to get out of. Meditation is a great way to get out of that by becoming aware of your thoughts, so that when you become aware, you can stop that process and replace that. Just refuse to engage and replace that with something positive.
Yeah, you almost have to talk to yourself and talk back to the thought. And, you know, I've practiced this for a long time, and I had thoughts a long time ago when I had the goal of leaving my job to have my own business. I would just affirm to myself, you know, this was the day that I was going to quit my job, that I owned a prosperous business that served others in the best ways possible. It was an affirmation of sorts. It was in my car. And I would just say it over and over again, and because it helped to build my belief. Because my thought process told me I wasn't going to quit, that my job was too secure, that stepping out on my own was way too scary. So it's a way to kind of negate that and to change the loop that my brain was naturally going to at that time.
Absolutely.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk some more about mindset and goal achieving. Be right back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Welcome back to the Align Your Life show here with Jennifer Malins, and we are talking about goal achieving and the importance of mindset. I think that's an often overlooked step when people set goals, and it's probably a big component in terms of why we don't achieve a lot of our goals. I know that's been true for me in the past when I look back, and it is a process. And we were talking over the break about starting small. Sometimes I know, for myself personally, you know, I'll look at other people and we tell ourselves a story about someone that we see as successful, and we see how easy supposedly it's been for them, but we don't really know the story behind the glory. And sometimes we even think that maybe they were born with certain traits that we weren't. They were born organized, or they were born a business person, or they were born this way or born that way. But all of this is learned, and it's a process. And mindset is key throughout the entire process, not just perfecting almost your mindset, but really keeping it in that place that's going to keep you moving forward to your goal and not going backwards or comparing yourself. But what about starting small? That's huge, because we always have these big goals, but we don't look at what it's going to take to get there, the in-between stuff.
I find a lot of my clients and myself, I catch myself doing this as well, we tend to be all or nothing. So I made my New Year's resolutions, didn't keep them, so I'm not gonna I failed.
I'm done.
End of story. It's over. And it's like, no, you can always have a second chance. I mean, one thing I told one of my clients that really resonated with him is like, okay, would you beat down your kids? Like if they were trying to do something like learn soccer, and they failed to do it the first time, would you say, oh my God, you failed, we're taking you out of soccer camp, you're no good? And they're like, no, I would never do that. It's horrible. I would let them have a second chance and a third chance and a fifth chance. I'm like, why can't you do the same for yourself?
Right.
Why can't you treat yourself the way you would treat your child, and give yourself a second chance and a fifth chance? It's like, okay, I broke my New Year's resolution today. Oops, I ate a whole pint of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Well, I'm going to start right now and get back, on track. And then starting small, just, you can have the big goal of, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds or, exercise a lot more, like several hours a week or whatever your goal is. But have the big goal, but then break it down into smaller, more achievable goals. So if you have this huge, overwhelming goal and you're just looking at, oh my God, it's like running a marathon when you haven't done the training. It's like 26 miles. Oh my God, how am I going to do that? Focus on 1 mile at a time.
Right.
Run 1 mile, then run 2 miles. Then the next week run 3 miles, and slowly add on. Do the same thing with your goals. So have that big goal. I'm going to run this marathon, and then break it down into smaller goals. Okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, so how about 5 pounds this month? Now, how am I going to do that? And what are the steps I'm going to take to achieve this goal? And then again, if you fall off the wagon, you just get back on. There's no all or nothing. Like, really work on losing that mindset, because that is just detrimental to success, is that all or nothing mindset. Give yourself a break.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're talking about giving your child another chance, it reminded me of something I saw in your book, page 32 and 33, where you talk about your ego and talking to your ego like it's a child, because your ego does wants to pull us back into what is normal, what has been safe all along, what we've always done, what we've always known.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, it was just such a great point, because a lot of people don't consider the fact that, our ego can serve us in many ways, but especially when we're trying to change our mindset, it can become somewhat of a safe haven in terms of how our body responds to things, because it thinks it's protecting us, because this is the way things have always been.
Right.
But really, we're making changes. And so you do have to speak to yourself like a child and be compassionate with yourself and empathetic with yourself.
Yeah. Ego doesn't like change. It thinks it's going to die. So if you think of it as a child, like, oh my God, you're leaving me, I'm going to die. Like, it thinks it's the end of the world, And so you have to placate it and talk to it and say, it's going to be fine. Why don't you give you a little toy here and you go play for a while. I'm going to go exercise now, I've known people who visualize, like I knew a fellow meditator who had the worst, like, chatty ego. Just, she had an itch, and then she had another itch, and then the ego would, come up with a list of things she needed to do, and she couldn't meditate. And so what she started doing is pretending her ego was a big, I think she said a polar bear or something, and she would give it a great big beach ball and say, okay, go play for an hour, I'm going to meditate. And it worked.
That's
so
interesting.
We treat the ego like a child, for example, and that's just one example. You can do what works for you, but we're feeling compassionate rather than trying to squelch the ego, which a lot of people try to do in meditation, or when they're trying to make changes, is they try to, like, squelch it and almost feel violent towards it. And really what we should be feeling is compassion. Your ego is trying to protect you. It's afraid of change, and just letting it know everything's going to be okay. It sounds crazy, but
it does sound crazy.
It does,
no,
but try it. It works.
It does work. And, I remember working with a coach not too long ago who would just talk about that very thing, and really having to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing and why your mind is talking to you the way that it is. And so much of it goes back to from, the time that we came onto this earth, from the time that we were born, and everything that we absorb as we are growing into, our teenage years and adulthood and things like that. And there's so much at a subconscious level that we're not aware of that comes up and holds us up. And it does help to know why we're doing the things that we're doing, but you don't have to know why. Sometimes you can just catch the thought, catch whatever it is that's telling you are this or you aren't that, or you're failing, or, you're not good enough, and just tell it the opposite good thing, and continue to do that over and over again. Because what happens, and I always find this so fascinating whenever people talk about this, and when I was looking at some things online yesterday about this topic, I just came upon a random website that was just talking about, how the cortisol levels will increase, and our body will go into kind of a flight or fight response when we're overwhelmed. So when you have the big goal, and you don't know how you're going to achieve it. Now you're overwhelmed because you have to do all of these things, or today you said you weren't going to do this and then you did it and now you're upset with yourself. You're fulfilling this biochemical response in your brain that is an addiction essentially. And so you have to be able to catch it, and that's why we talk about the minds, the thoughts, when they are starting to go in that direction, catch it and just turn it off. Think of something else. Take a nap if you have to. That shuts it down and you can wake up and start fresh. But it's a practice over and over and over again.
And just refuse to engage. I mean, another thing is, if you have a child who, children love to push the buttons of their parents. And so if you have a child, you can, again, pretend that your ego is your child talking to you, and all these negative thoughts, just be like, you know what, I'm not engaging in this. The same way that you might work with your child is like, I'm not falling for this. I'm not engaging in this. I'm not going to, emphasize this behavior. I'm just going to say, not engaging, and that is really helpful as well.
When I was flipping through your book yesterday, I think it's chapter 5. Is it chapter 5 I mentioned?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yep, chapter 5 on the warrior path. And this is all about 8 paths to balance, consciousness, inspiration, and freedom. So it's not necessarily all about mindset, but of course mindset is in the book in different areas. But one of the things that popped out to me in this particular chapter was when you were talking about a skating competition that you had coming up. You were spending hours and hours practicing because you thought that was what was going to make you a better skater.
Right.
And that was what was going to help you win the competition. And what you realized as you were going through the process was that there was some mental preparation that had to take place too. Is that the first time that was something that you were really cognizant about?
It was the first time that I was majorly aware of how much mental preparation played a role. I'd always heard athletes talk about that, and I'd done some mental preparation when I was in high school, and I, did gymnastics and ran track, but this was utterly scary to me because I was being judged, and I was alone on the ice, and I knew they'd hear every single scratch that I made, and it really came together for me at that moment. Yeah.
Awesome. We have to take another quick break. We ran out of time, but when we come right back, we'll continue to talk about mindset and goal achieving. Be right back.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Welcome back to the Align Your Life show here with Jennifer Malins, and we're talking about goal achieving and mindset. One of the things that just came to my mind, and now it's lost. Oh, okay. So have you ever noticed how when you're in a funk, and I woke up just in a huge funk the other day, and you get off on the right or on the wrong foot, from the get-go, and then all day long, that's how your day goes.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch myself, and so we're sitting here talking about catching your thoughts so that you can change that. But from the moment I woke up, normally when I wake up, I try to just go immediately to gratitude because it just sets the tone for my day. So if I wake up feeling grumpy, it changes that a little bit.
Right.
Helps me to go in a better direction. I don't know if apparently I did not do that this morning. But I woke up and got out of bed and ran into the side of the bed and have a huge bump on my thigh and a huge bruise now.
Yeah.
And the day just progressively went like that all day long. People in situations were responding to me negatively.
Yeah.
I noticed. Hitting every red light. Couldn't find a parking space.
Yep.
Couldn't get. I forgot my grocery list, so I went to the store and didn't know what I even needed and all of these things. And finally I just went home and I just shut myself down. It's like the day's over and I'm done now because I am not in a good space. So I think that the reason I brought that up is because it's kind of a good example of what we were talking about with momentum and the thoughts and the energy and the universe conspiring. And sometimes that's foreign to people, and I know it's still foreign to me in many ways, but when you start to really pay attention to it, if you can stop that, stop yourself from going down the rabbit hole further, because I was just getting ticked off at myself, ticked off at everything, and I just kept going there. So I just kept going down the rabbit hole, and things just kept getting worse.
Well, when it rains, it pours. The rain starts here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think we've all done that. And,
yeah.
And the key is catching yourself, like you said, with that practice.
It can seem so overwhelming, and we hear different things, like 21 days is what will form a different habit.
Yes.
You were talking about 66 days is kind of more probably like it. And I think, too, it's individual in a lot of ways. But I don't think that you can say 21 days, and on the 22nd day, I'm cured, I'm done, this is perfect.
It's when you don't have to think about it anymore.
Not one size fits all.
It's just become a part of your lifestyle. Like now, I once had the goal of getting up, doing yoga and meditation every morning. Now it happens pretty much every single day, and I don't think about it. It's just my routine. I get up, I go downstairs, I light a candle, I do meditation and yoga. That's what I do. It's my routine. So I would say, yes, according to the research, some says 21, some says 66 days, but really it's when it feels automatic to you. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's not an effort anymore. It's just a part of your lifestyle that you don't even want to give up at this point.
And it's totally individual, and it's a process. We all come from, we're all raised differently. We all have different experiences in life. It is not a one-size-fits-all thing by any means. And
but
so
doing it, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Doing it daily, though. I want to make sure I got that in there. Daily practice is so important. So I used to work with people with learning disabilities, with dyslexia and other reading challenges, and we had them come in every single day because the brain needs daily instruction, daily practice in order to change, or at least 5 days a week. So make that the goal. If you're trying to make a change, especially in terms of here, then you need to do it pretty much every day.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And, success leaves clues. I've heard this said so many times, and it's true. So find someone that has what it is that you want, or what it is that you're trying to create in your own life, and surround yourself with that person. Or maybe that person's written a book or has a blog or are on Facebook or social media. I have a couple of people whose Facebook pages I specifically will go to when I get on Facebook, because I love their content. I love what they stand for. I love what they're all about, and it inspires me, and it leaves me with that happy feeling, and it keeps me in a state of continuing on towards my goals, even when I don't feel like it, because you're just not always going to feel like it. You're going to have to do things you don't want to do, and that's just the bottom line. So you've got to really set yourself up for success and surround yourself with other people that are doing the same.
Yep, and find an accountability partner. I think that's really helpful. So I wrote this book in 6 months, which is a very short period of time to write a book. And the reason I was able to do it, I gave myself a deadline, and the deadline had a purpose. It was to be able to take the book and market it at a special event in New York City. And then I also had an accountability partner. So every week I had to send her a chapter, and then she gave me feedback on it, and then she did the same. So she was writing a book, and so was I, and then we would just exchange that information. So I had a deadline. I had weekly deadlines. I had homework that had to be done, and then we would meet every week and critique each other's work over the phone. So finding an accountability partner is really, really huge, especially those days that you just don't feel like doing what it is that you have set out to do.
Yeah, and get the accountability partner even if you don't want to, because it really makes such a big difference.
It does.
It truly does.
Really does.
So you have some things coming up. I know you just finished an exciting course of Playful Soul. What was that called?
Journey into the Heart of the Soul. So it combined the Heart Math program, which is a scientifically proven method to reduce stress. So people got trained in how to do that for themselves. And then also combining some of the techniques from my book. So for example, the last class, we did a drumming circle, and I had a musician come in, and we did a drumming circle together the last half an hour of class. So that was really fun.
That is fun.
I will be giving the class again. The format will change slightly, so it's an improved format. Not sure when that's going to be, but stay tuned. I will let you know. Also, I'm taking a digestive intensive right now with Andrea Nakayama. So I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's a functional nutritionist. She knows more than any doctor I've ever met. So I'm really pleased to be studying under her and would love to come and share that information on future shows, because digestion is where good health begins. And then I'm also going in on this scheme in collaboration with a few other holistic professionals to provide a discounted, pretty broad encompassing holistic program that will include chiropractic care, nutritional counseling with me once a week, so it's an 8-week program, medical massage, therapy if needed, discount at a gym, lab tests, very, very extensive lab tests, like more than what your regular doctor will ever prescribe, and other kinds of testing at a discount. So it's a wellness package.
A one-stop shop. I love it.
Yes, and it's at a pretty big discount. You'd probably spend $200 or $300 more if you did this just separately rather than as a package. So, that will be held at Coughlin Chiropractic. So if you want more information about the wellness program, then contact Coughlin Chiropractic, and that is located in Lawrence.
Awesome, fantastic. Do you have any events coming up, or how can people get in touch with you?
So you can always call me via cell, although I respond to text more quickly because a lot of times I am on the phone with clients or teaching a class. So my cell phone number is 408, area code 408-250-1027. You can also find me at, on Facebook, Jennifer Malins. And then I also have a website, www.bellybrain.org. I did blog about this very topic that we have spoken about today, called Creating Goals with Soul. So, you can find me on my website, find my blog there. Those are a few different ways you can contact me. And also Jennifer@bellybrain.org is my email address.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being here, Jen.
Thank you for
Always love when
having
you're
me.
here. And be sure to check out Good Journeys House of Healing here in Noblesville. They have a health and psychic fair coming up at the beginning of April at the Noblesville Fairgrounds. I think it's April 3rd and 4th. It's the first Saturday and Sunday. And then also the IndieHolisticHub.com. Check them out. There is a Wellness Fest coming up June 25th that you'll definitely want to come by and check out. And thank you so much for being here. Thanks to Jim Wofford and Logan Street Signs and Banners for allowing us to be here. Thank you for being here. And we'll be back next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Have a great week, everyone.